Hi there, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Phasing Line podcast. My name is Marty Sulloway, KC1 CWF, and I am one of your two co-hosts. Thank you so much for joining. This is the show where we talk about, well, actually just about everything there is to talk about in ham radio, from the antenna on the tower, the microphone, the radios, SDR, ARRL, politics, DXing, contesting, beverages, receive antennas, VHF repeaters, you name about it, we talk about it here. I'm telling you, we got it all. And on this very special episode, we're going to actually travel back in time. I am recording this live from my home studio on October 3rd, 2018, but we're actually going to go jump on a plane and fly back to May and fly back to Dayton, Ohio. We are going to talk to three amazing men, the three Special Achievement Award winners of the Dayton Hamvention in 2018. These three gentlemen were instrumental in getting communications established and out of Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico just over a year ago as I'm recording this in September of 2017. We get to talk to Herb, KK4DCX, Victor, WP4 Sugar Delta, and Emilio, Whiskey Papa 4 Kilo Echo Yankee. We had a lot of fun talking to them, and we were joined by Jerry, W1VE. He'll introduce himself. And well-known contester Doug Grant, K1DG. I'm not going to talk for long. I'm going to jump right into the show, but if you would like to hear more about this podcast and get more information, remember phasinglinepodcast.com. All right, just a quick warning. There's a little bit of scratchy audio in there. We were recording in a hotel room outside, a lot of people talking very late at night, but this is a really, really important show. All right, let's get on that plane and go back to Dayton in May of 2018 to talk to the three Special Achievement Award winners. Here we go.
Yep.
And we're recording.
We are recording.
We're recording.
Yeah.
This is the Phasing Line podcast. This is a very special episode. We are at the Crown Plaza, which is the Contesters Hotel at the Dayton Hamvention. And we got a crowd. This show kind of came together spontaneously. So let's before we even say what the show is, let's just kind of go around the horn here. I'm Marty, KC1CWF, your host. Sterling Coffee and Zero SSC, the other guy who normally chats with me, might pop in a little bit, but he's kind of busy tonight. We got Jerry, W1VE. Say hi.
Hi, Jerry, W1VE here.
We got the world-renowned Doug Grant, K1DG.
Hi, thanks. I'm here.
And then once I tell you who else we have here, it's gonna kind of give it away. So as some of you might know, in last September, the Hurricane Maria struck Puerto Rico, and the response to the hurricane required was very much dependent on ham radio. So we have three of the most enterprising, most amazing, and most talented radio hams who were able to make it to Dayton, who really did some amazing stuff. So I'm proud to go. If you want to go down the line, Herb, do you want to start and just your name and call sign, and then we can pass it down.
Yeah, starting off first, thank you for
Sure.
the invite, and I'm very happy to be here. We were looking forward for this occasion. My name is Herb, and this is KK4 DCX at your service.
Awesome to have you.
Hello, guys. Thank you very much for your invitation. We're very happy to be here as well. My name is Victor. Everybody knows me as Tito, WP4 Sugar Delta.
Thank you for the introduction. I didn't know that I was so important and so, you know.
Definitely.
Definitely.
I feel now that I'm like a star, but thank you. My name is Emilio, WP4 Kilo Echo Yankee.
Awesome. So, do you have an idea where do you want to start with the storm? So maybe Herb,
No,
you could set it up a
yeah.
little bit. So, where were you when the storm hit? So there's a big hurricane coming. Everybody, you knew it was coming.
Yeah, definitely.
So where were you at home? Did you know you were going to need to do ham radio? Like where Kind of walk me through the beginning of the.
Well, actually, when in Puerto Rico you have this hurricane thing coming on, it's like cry wolf. Sometimes it will hit and might not hit, but in this occasion, I would say like maybe like a week before it hit, it got serious.
Yeah, the government said it was going to hit us.
Yeah, it was going to hit us. So back at that point, we knew that something bad was going to happen. So we started, buying goods, candles, canned goods, and all that kind of good stuff, and it actually did happen. So.
Were you at home during?
I was at home with my parents because I take care of my parents. They're elderlies.
So what happened to cause this plan of action where you guys said we're going to do radio? How did it come together?
There's certain things that I don't remember for sure how it happened. I think he has a good explanation, better than I have. They were calling Tito for the station. Well, he can tell you his side. All I know is that on the 22nd, on the 22nd, we all met at the radio station.
This was after the storm passed.
After the storm.
And this station was off the air, pretty much.
Yeah, the station was running with low power.
Okay.
And
an FM station?
No, it's an AM station. It's called Radio Soul in Sahima.
Okay.
They were running with low power, and they were asking for a radio amateur, a ham.
So they knew about amateur radio.
They do. So he's going to tell you a little bit of the story, and then how I come into the part, how I integrate, and how Emilio integrates, because we pretty much met the day before we went out to the radio station. So go ahead, Tito.
Okay, thank you, Herb. Okay, this is what happened. The owner of the local radio station, she knows me, and she was there with a person called Vicente Pietri, which I know very good. He's a long friend of mine. We spoken before about the role of a ham radio operator in an emergency. So I've been explaining that we were going to be the only persons in the air to give the government and the people give communication. So hurricane strikes, everybody is desperate, asking for help, for information, and they remember that, and they start calling on the air ham radio operators. By that time, they call me, but I didn't have radio. I didn't listen to the call. So people went to my house to tell me, hey, they're calling you on the local radio station. But I did not appear quick. So they start calling, hey, we need ham radio operators here. Emilio was the first one to arrive to the local station. From there on, I met Herb, and I told him, hey, they need help. Are you able to work with us? So we got together. The other day of the hurricane, we all meet in the station. But Emilio was the first one that arrived first at the.
But there wasn't a station there. It was just a transmitter building.
We didn't plan. The three of us. This
was ad hoc.
It was coincidental.
Yeah.
Yes.
Coincidental.
We didn't know Emilio.
Yeah, we didn't know Emilio. We just met at that.
Get on that microphone.
We just met that same day. I know that I met with Tito. I don't exactly know where I met him. That he told me about that and said, well, let's go ahead and do it. And then that same night,
we were just looking for gas and a program.
Yeah, you're trying to survive yourselves.
Well, we were in rush, and and he made an antenna. He built an antenna quick, and the other day,
just a wire antenna at the transmitter site.
Yeah, the G5 RV.
Yeah.
Folded dipole.
Yeah.
I did it with THHM number 14. I cut the piece of PVC, drilled 2 holes on the end, and that was it.
And how high in the air was the antenna?
I would say maybe 30 feet, maybe.
Yeah.
About 30 feet.
20-meter dipole.
Yeah, 20 meter.
And most importantly, I was going to ask, there was no government or anybody coming to help you or do anything. It was just you guys.
No, it was just us. And coincidental, that night when I met Tito is when I heard you on the 2 meter. And I heard him saying that he was going to go to the radio station. And then I braked in with him. I said, well, you know what? Tito and I are going to go to the radio station too the next morning. And the next morning, I took my radio, the antenna, and we all showed up. And that's where the whole story.
That's where it begins.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Emilio here. Yeah, I didn't know the guys at the moment. The day, I remember it was September 19, the birthday celebration of my son. Mm-hmm. That's why I remember that the next day we were hit by the Hurricane Cat 5 Maria. on September 20th. So I was hearing that station after the hurricane calling for ham radio operators, and I thought, I shouldn't go because there's so many ham radio operators that are going to show up. So I didn't went that day. The next day, I was hearing the radio, and the owner of the station was keep on calling for ham radio operators. The thing is that all routes were blocked, so we have to make, even Tito and Herb have to make way to go to the station.
How far from the station did you guys live?
Well, it depends. I live like 20 minutes from the station. How about you, Tito?
Okay, I live 5 minutes from the station, but I'm living right now 5 minutes from the station or less. The problem is I live about half an hour from the station. I just moved near the station because I bought a house about 4 years ago. It was in remodelation. My house was wood and zinc. I lost my house in the hurricane. Yeah. So I just moved to there to pass the hurricane. And when I went back to my house, I lost everything there. I lost the roof of my house and everything inside. So wow. I came back. That's when I met Herb, and I told him, "Hey, they're calling us for the radio station. Are you able?" Hey, yes. He made the antenna. He brought the radio. It was something. I want to tell this, and I already told the guys before. I was hell. I was hurt. I cried alone in my room without the roof. My sons were outside, and I didn't want them to see me because that house was going to be to my other son when I moved.
Yes.
And all this heal my wounds, because when I started transmitting with them and hearing the people coming with different stories, crying, and what was happening to them, I say, hey, nothing happened to me. These people has passed worse things than me. Yes. So it heals me and it gives me relief.
Absolutely.
In my case, I'm about a half hour away from the station. But like Tito said earlier, we had a lot of debris on the road, so we had to clean the process through the whole entire community and clear the road so we can at least drive. Because there was actually a curfew. What was the earliest curfew time? Was it 9 o'clock at night? Yeah, there was a curfew.
There was a curfew, yeah.
Yeah, so even after the transmission, we had to be careful because they say, oh, wait a minute, there's a curfew. And if they catch us on the road, we might, go to jail.
It was 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock? Okay, the original. Right, but going back to the main question, I half an hour from the station.
Right, and you didn't have, there was just batteries at the station. You were on battery, right?
No, they had a generator. They had a generator. It was powered by diesel. Yeah. And they were running their own transmitter at low power. At low power, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Let me do.
So to finalize, when I was on September 21st, I decided to go to the station, and I saw nobody there. I was waiting to see at least 10 or more ham radio operators. But I guess something happened to everybody, that everybody was thinking the same thing. So that day I didn't have equipment or anything like that to operate. So what I did is I talked to the owner, and I said, I make a promise that I will find some radio operators, and we'll come tomorrow and we'll start with the help. Right. So that's when I transmit through 2 meters because our cellulars were out of they were not functioning. So I talked to Herb talked to Tito, and they talked to each other because I didn't really know each other. So the next day when I went to the station, they were already there, and they were already mounting the antenna.
So you're ready to go to work?
Yeah, they were ready. They were ready, ready and up.
So you had the lists, because what you guys did when you got on the air is you were reading us names and phone numbers.
Yeah, the way that it was handled, people showed up at the local station. There were volunteers on tables, get the numbers, the message, and we try to keep it very simple.
Right.
We're okay. We're alive. And then volunteers gave us that note. Then we made the contact with you guys in the continental USA, which I'm really proud and very grateful for your service through the entire mission. And then we were doing batches of 5, right? 5 calls?
Yeah.
And then
started with one.
Started with one, yeah.
Then we went to 10.
Let me tell you, we were trying to find efficient ways to make it faster and efficient.
Yeah.
So we were just
But the
modifying.
most important thing is we were checking back with you and giving the status back.
And that was really
Right.
important because the people were there waiting for that reply.
yes.
You know, all this wouldn't happen. First of all, if that station wouldn't be on the air, it was the only station in the air in the whole the area.
And just for the listeners, just give us a
Get on that
description of
mic,
where
yeah.
you are in Puerto Rico.
Okay, we're in the southwest side of Puerto Rico. We're in the city of San Germán, municipality of San Germán, Puerto Rico. So they make the call. They remember. They caught us. We went to the call. Thanks to them, we used the local radio station to broadcast to the public, to let them know we were there giving the service. If that local radio station would not be there, we wouldn't.
Right, they were integral. They were an integral part
because
of this
they
whole
didn't
thing.
know what's going on. And then, if you guys would not be on this side in propagation, did not help us, we wouldn't be able to complete the contact.
So we were. I mean, I think one of the things I remember hearing when we got on the frequencies, there were people who were struggling. You know, but we were talking about this earlier today. People who were struggling to pull out the information at small antennas, and lo and behold, in comes K1DG.
Well, it was interesting. You know, I'd seen all the reports about the devastation down in the Caribbean, and so I thought maybe I could help in some way. So I have a pretty powerful station on an island in Maine, good antennas, quiet location. And so I was tuning around on 20 meters, and I thought maybe I'll find some net that's looking for people to help out. And all the nets that I heard were calling down to the area, trying to find someone to call back. And they weren't getting any answers. So I kept tuning around, and I reached 14270, and I heard KK4DCX, and he's passing messages. And the guys that he's sending the messages to aren't copying him very well. It was guys who had not very good
Dipoles
antennas.
and 100 watts.
Yeah, and who maybe weren't the most skilled operators. They certainly wanted to help. Everyone wanted to help. But they were asking for a lot of repeats, and one message at a time was going to take forever, because I know you guys had a big stack of paper to try and pass it all through. So I called in and said, give me a couple and I'll pass them through. So Herb was in the mode of reading who it's from, the phone number, and what the message was, and who it was going to, and he was repeating everything twice, including the phone number. So after the second or third one, I said, I'm copying you 100%. Just speed it up. Let's go faster. Give me the whole thing. And he started rattling them off. I said, okay, I've got 5. Let me handle these. I'll go make some phone calls, and then I'll come back. And I made all the phone calls, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But then I came back and said, okay, those 5 are done. Give me 5 more. And Herb sort of adapted. He knew which guys could copy him well and which guys would need a lot of repeats. So guys like Jerry, W1VE, showed up. Other contest operators like
I think all three of us were there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Marty was there. W1WEF showed up. K8AZ. All the contest guys sort of found out that was going on and that we could use our skills and our good stations to help out. So we got to the point where we were saying, give me 10 as fast as you can read them.
It's a contest thing. We want, how many can you do?
Exactly.
Right.
And so he'd rattle off 10 and we'd say, great, here we go. And then Jerry would take 10 and then Jack would take 10. And by the time those guys were done, I'd be back with the
reports.
Okay,
yeah.
I got all those 10 through, all delivered. Give me 10 more. And we just kept the rate up like any good contest. But it was
Can't let the
terrific.
rate meter drop. Then.
No.
It's like I think it's a good point to make that as contesters we have the ability to quickly and efficiently communicate.
Right.
We know how to
And
do it.
and what I found from all you guys is that you were naturals at it.
Yes.
Yeah,
You were
we
you were
there
naturals.
was no special procedures or SOPs. It was all born naturally.
Yeah.
And the more we did it, the more efficient we became at it. And in my case, I'm not a big contester. I'll be honest with you. He's a contester, but I'm more of a rack 2 DXer. You know.
Yeah,
But,
totally.
But you
But at that
were
moment,
efficient.
At that moment, I had to pick it up and take the bulls by the horn and keep going and going.
Yeah, you were great. The more we told you to speed it up, you just kept going faster and faster, and it was great.
We just started. We didn't have nothing planned, so we started from nothing to getting adjustments in the logs, and now let's do this way. No, let's do it this way. So
it became more efficient.
Right.
yes, because he was giving out the messages, and I was taking back.
Right.
And Emilio was taking back the response that we were writing so he can take a breath.
Right.
And then I give him the mic. He goes again. I take a breath. Emilio take a breath. And that's how we were doing it and writing it down, writing all your call signs down. Okay, this is from this call sign, from this order, for this order. We got all the call signs that the people, that ham radio operators that help us from the United States, we have them. And I want to let them know.
And just also to know, we're only a few. How many total guys did you talk to,
About
Herb?
50 or 60, right? We got it the luck.
You have a lot of them. Sorry. Well, we have a few in the log, but I actually confirmed on QRZ. I confirmed about 45.
So
You
it was
sent
amazing.
out letters. Do you?
Yeah, you sent out letters.
Yeah, I send out letters too, thanking everybody.
We were not writing it down at the beginning.
You were a little
So-
busy.
Yeah, so no, we were a little bit lost when we started. So then we realized.
You got your sea legs. You knew what you were doing, and yeah.
Yeah, then we'd write it down, and he has a few that I don't have because I think this should be said later, but well, I'll say it later because I have a few others because I went to another place to transmit, to keep making contact. And well, for those guys, I want to say I really appreciate the help that you gave us, and you're gonna receive something from us real soon. It's something, not too much, but just appreciation for what you guys did for us. We're gonna we're gonna mail something for you guys that we got prepared in Puerto Rico.
Oh, thank you.
That's way too kind.
Yeah.
I have to say that it was a team effort from you guys, also the volunteers that we have in Puerto Rico, my wife and everybody. There was a lot of women, also people that were not ham radio operators, but they were there to help us.
Take the lists.
Right.
Take the list, order the line. Me myself, I was in the military, and even though we didn't have SOPs, I know how to do, the things as SOPs. So I was basically running back and forth, we basically, I think without that team effort, it was going to be impossible to do what we did. As a matter of fact, I always, tell everybody on the Hamvention that the heroes are in reality those people behind the scenes, especially you guys from the U.S. Because we got people from Texas, for example, that they suffer the same thing that we suffer as a
And they were helping.
and they were helping us.
Yeah.
Florida also. We got many people all around. So I gotta mention that it was a team effort, and I have to admit that without those guys, especially you guys, we couldn't make it.
So I think it would be interesting to talk a little bit about some of the calls.
The calls.
The calls.
This is the hardest part of the show.
I also
Yeah.
want to say that you guys are one of the first responders.
Yeah.
And we do have a short list of that very first day.
Yeah.
It's about 14 stations we helped us that very first day. Around 14.
So I was lucky. I happened to work from my home, and when I knew about it, I said, same thing as Doug. I said, let's tune the bands, and the same thing. I tuned around, and there's all these nets around calling, and
then you hear KK4 CDX. I need help. Anybody in the U.S. who can pass
believe
traffic.
Me, of course, I was also using a big station, and you were loud. It was perfect propagation.
I didn't have a time to ask, what was my report?
You're a little preoccupied, I guess.
Was I 5 by 9?
5 plus 10.
Oh, 5 9 plus. That's wonderful.
I'll get you a QSL card for it. I promise.
Only 100 watts and a wire.
It was
That's all
working
you
great.
need.
That's it. And propagation.
That's ham
I
radio.
think we were blessed with propagation.
Yeah, we
I
were.
think we were, but we also did a little stuff that maybe you probably didn't hear that we were doing behind the scenes was, I'd be sitting up there and I'd be listening to you passing traffic to somebody, and then I would hear someone in Europe come very close to the frequency, CQ, this is Italy Kilo 6.
Italy Kilo 6, we're a little busy here. Go away.
And we would call them and say, gee, we're trying to handle some emergency traffic here. Could you please QSY? And everyone did immediately. They were happy to
that
move.
was awesome.
Everybody stepped up. Everybody was polite.
Yeah. They were. As soon as you said, hey, we're doing emergency traffic to Puerto Rico, they moved. But, the calls that we were making, and the response we got to those calls was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I've never been in a position where I've heard nothing about my family that was in a disaster area and heard nothing for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because you guys were handling messages for a long time after the storm. And so I would call a family and say, hello, is this Jose? Yes, this is Jose. I have a message from your family in Puerto Rico. I'm a ham radio operator. I'm talking with a radio ham in Puerto Rico. I have a message that your family is okay. Your uncle is having a problem, but everyone is okay. House is okay. And people would break down in tears, sobbing hysterically.
Immediately on the phone.
Immediately on the phone. They'd say, this is the first news we've had from anybody. We didn't know if our family was alive or dead. We didn't know what was happening to them. And you're an angel. You're calling us and giving us news that we had no way of getting. We've been trying to call them and the phones aren't working. So, thank you for doing this. And it was just unbelievable.
So it's like, it's a ham radio. 90% of what 99.999% of what we do is fun stuff.
Right.
And it's nice to see that, at least we can get something out of it. I think the hardest phone call for me was when somebody called, I gave them the news. And she said, well, how do I know that you're real? How do I know? It broke my heart. How do I?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it was the names. There was the names. Right. I had one gentleman, very professional on the phone, and kind of curt, a little bit curt on the phone when he was like, "Well, what's this all about?" Mm-hmm. And I said, your father is okay in Puerto Rico, and my father, and he said his name and all that, and he broke down in tears immediately. I mean, I think it doesn't matter. It's just knowing. It doesn't matter what the disaster is and what's lost, it's life. And, to actually know that your loved one is okay is beyond anything.
Even to who you give you pass messages to the mayor of San German family, about 5 messages for different families. You transmit messages, they came through, and the mayor told me that they were received. And he's real grateful. His name is Isidro Negron.
Excellent.
I also have to mention that I was putting myself on these family members' shoes back in the continental USA, and the agony of the wait. I mean, CNN was reporting a terrible disaster. It was a terrible disaster.
Yeah.
But just the feeling just thinking about how they felt, not knowing about their family.
And no way to get information.
Zilch. Not a word.
Yeah.
Zero. We were wiped out of the planet Earth, basically.
Yep.
And I actually utilized also the service because my children and grandchildren live in Orlando. So about within an hour or two maybe into the transmissions, I asked for a little special favor as well. And I gave my ex-wife, number, and I'm okay. Mom and Dad, we're all fine and we're alive. And they made the phone call and gave my children also the message.
No, that's
Excellent.
awesome.
That's amazing.
And then after that, it was just do as much as we can with the time limitations that we had.
And tell us some of the reactions in the radio station.
Well, it was like we were there. We had no idea what was going on. There was a lot of people all over the place. Some of them were hearing the results on the radio, and they were starting to tears and crying and hugging, kissing. I have this lady that gave me a Bible.
Wow.
As a token of appreciation. We were fed. Water was given to us. Coffee was given to us because we did not move from these seats.
They give us food in the station.
Yeah, we did not move.
So did you go home Did you go home at night or?
Well, it all depends. If the conditions dropped, we had a short day, but usually, at night. And like I said, I was 3 days without gas at the radio station.
And tell us about during all of this, what your family members, what were you guys sacrificing to be there for,
It was a big sacrifice.
I'm sure.
Tito had to sacrifice his family. I had to sacrifice my mom and dad. My mom has 2 cancers, and every day we had to live day by day survival mode. And bring as much food as you can for that day. It's going to go on the waste in the evening. And I told my mom and dad, Mom, this is we got to do this for the people that they need help. We're the only ones.
Right.
We are the only hope to
Right.
let family members know that they're alive. And leaving my parents behind was really bad.
Yeah.
And they gave me a hug and a kiss when I went in. It was already, the candles were already up to light in the room and bring a little bit of food and get ready for the next day. It's an impact, but we had to be strong and not.
Well, you were amazing because I couldn't tell on the air. I mean,
You were so professional on the air. It
There was one
really
moment
amazing.
that you guys remember when the three guys with the guitar were playing music. It was like a trio. They're playing the local music.
Yeah.
And it was something about, it was patriotic songs.
Yeah.
And when I heard
Totally.
that and I see the people that they were trusting us, they trusted what we were doing. They felt confident at that moment. And the only little hope
Right.
in those days during the crisis, it was the transmissions that we did.
Yeah, maybe Herb doesn't remember right now, but he's gonna remember now. Herb, do you remember the doctor that went to the station? And you may tell that story. I'm gonna tell something. I remember that not all the messages that we relay were good. We have one message. Specifically, I remember it was on the same island of Puerto Rico of somebody that has passed, and this person came to the station, crying, and she went to say to their family in another town that her dad, passed, and she asked for us to contact her brother. And I couldn't pass that information. I just, what I did is I contact other station in the middle of Puerto Rico, and I said, do you know this family? And they say yes. And I said, okay, just tell this family that as soon as they can, as soon as the streets are unblocked, they have to contact, their family, their sister. But I, for example, my wife, has a daughter, and we were working on the station, and we didn't know if she was alive. So we basically were struggling, helping everybody, and crying at the same time.
Sure.
Because we didn't know if she was alive or not.
So I'm not sure if maybe this is more of a Doug and Jerry question than anybody else. One of the things I experienced was people would call me back. People spread my phone number around.
Yes. So it was interesting. It was interesting in the U.S. I had so many calls that I had done, and I became the Puerto Rico information line. I got many callers calling back. So much so, and not a problem on my end, but I put a message on my machine that said, I'm sorry, this is one way. We have information coming out of Puerto Rico, but we can't dial in.
Right, or at least we had
But I think it even got out on some media. We have some Puerto Rican, we have some Spanish-speaking stations in New England, and I think some people may have called in, and so it was interesting.
Yeah, and I also remember there was the Safe and Well Red Cross.
Yes, the Safe and Well Red Cross site.
It was also heartbreaking for us when some stations wanted to give messages to other family members.
Yes.
And we had to tell them, listen, we don't have that capability.
Right.
Right now, we don't know what's going on in the island. I didn't know about my sister, about her whereabouts 21 days later.
Wow.
I had no clue. So we couldn't, it was all outbound,
Yeah, it was
Pretty
all
much.
outbound.
Was
and-
there any 2-meter across the island traffic or anything?
Not from us. Across the island? You did? Oh, go ahead. No? No.
No, it was only one repeater up, and when the power of the batteries or the generator went out, we didn't have no more communication. Inside the island, there was no communication at all, only by car. That's gonna change, and at the end, I'm gonna tell you guys what we have done for this not to happen again. So
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, tell us the plan.
okay.
If you've got a plan, let us.
Yeah, no,
we'd
we
love
got
to
a
hear.
plan. It's not gonna get us by surprise. You want to say something before, Emilio?
it's okay.
Okay. We got a plan after this. We got together and we decided to make a ham radio club.
Oh,
Emergency.
great.
So I got it here. We made a logo and we made the club here. And it's called Southwest Puerto Rican Amateur Emergency Radio Club. So the thing for this is that we're trying for first time to get our plan inside the government's plan because they don't take us serious. Puerto Rico government don't ask for our help, don't look for us, don't have us in their plan. So I'm trying with the mayor of San Germán, that is my boss that I work with, to be the first one to include a ham radio club. Our plans inside their plans.
Right.
And it's going to work this way. This municipality here in San Germán is going to be the home base, and all the southwest of the island, we're going to try in the emergency offices they have radio stations. They have ham radio stations, those offices.
Yes.
The problem is they don't have ham radios.
Yeah. They don't have
Operators. They don't have ham
Operators.
radio operators
Yeah.
to operate them. So they need volunteers. So we're going to try to fix that, talking to the mayor, to talk with the other 10 other municipalities of this side of the island. That is the most that everybody forget about. We're going to try to have radio contact, have operators in all those stations there, so we can communicate this way. If help the government and help the people, we are gonna have 2 stations set up this time because we got the ready to set up 2 stations in every municipality. So if you're in the city of Maya West and I'm in the city of San Germán, and if you need some information of the government, any agency from the San Germán, I can get a guy inside the car and move around San Germán and get that information for you and transmit it in radio. So
Sure.
you don't have to come to my place to waste time gasoline, knowing if the road is blocked, if there's pass. You don't have to lose time. It will just give you the information. Same, if we need something from Maya West, that is another municipality, we're gonna ask them, hey, we need this for this agency from Maya West. Can you get me the information? Yes, we'll move.
So your mayor was impressed by what you guys.
So he's very happy.
Now, what about? Have you heard from other government and people around? Are they? Did they get your story? Did they understand what you had done?
Well, yes, they have knowledge, but this was more impacting for you guys here in the States. It was impacting for the people in Puerto Rico that received the help.
Yes, yes.
But it was most for you guys. Over there, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so how long? So we're now a couple days in. How many days did you keep with the lists? How many days did that go
Total.
on for? Yeah.
Okay, no, it's for about 5 days, right? Consecutive. No, let me say something. Okay.
Myself, September the 26th was my last day.
Okay.
But he continued from his home, right? Or from the
Okay.
from the municipality you
Yeah,
did?
I but from the office where the emergency room is of the municipality. They have a radio there. I went to test it. If it's not working, I took my radio there. So I continue about for 4 or 5 more days. Emilio went back home, and he helped some other people from the neighbors and the north area, right? So
So you stopped because your radio was stolen. Somebody stole your radio.
Yeah, I was without a radio from the 26th, so that's why nobody heard from me. Weeks later, when the internet service came, and then I got these whole bunch.
Yeah, I was emailing you.
You was emailing, and then I realized,
I was
listen,
concerned. Yeah.
I don't have any radio. I'm not in the air, but I did get all the emails after maybe a week or 2 weeks.
Yep.
But I really don't want to get into that.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
Yeah,
we
totally.
did what we had to do, and we move forward. That's water under the bridge. That little small episode of not having the radio, but now we're back on track.
There we go.
Great.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it was after about a week you got cell phone service back up, right?
Around the 26th already. It started. It began, but then the incidence of people going to the radio station kind of decreased
Yes.
as the phone services were up and running. People were go into these spots where the strong signal is at, and then began contacting family members directly on the phone. So the
need for it,
the need to go
yeah.
back to the station, it was kind of okay. Well, let's just stop operations.
Well, I can tell you there's a community that you guys live in that certainly understand what amateur radio is all about now.
Yeah, I hope so.
No,
And,
they do.
One thing that I wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys experienced it, we lost track of time. At a certain point, I didn't know what numerical day was,
Right.
or the name of the day of the week, because we were just
Going on adrenaline.
Yeah, it's getting night. We go home. Back in the daytime, we go back.
You know, it's I don't know how to explain it, but in Puerto Rico, ham radio is not taken as serious as you guys do up here. It's the truth. I gotta say, it hurts, but it's the truth. In 2014, I write some history or information about how I became a ham radio operator in an anniversary of parties we do in our town. And I ended the story saying the role of a ham radio operator in an emergency. Exactly what I wrote there 2 years ago happened 2 years later, and I wrote it. It's writing. I can show you. It's there.
You essentially predicted what was.
It's like a prediction, and it happened. That I thought everything is gonna get communication gonna drop. Nobody's gonna have communication. We're gonna be the only ones to survive. I got that right down, and now we're gonna help this way, and it went that way.
Fantastic.
And nobody believed. Nobody read that. Nobody.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I want. This is Emilio again. I want to say that the only thing that after the hurricane passed through Puerto Rico on September 20th, that really worked was ham radio operator. I was reading today a sticker that I have from the ham pension. The ham radio saves lives, and it's striking. It's very, very hard for me to read that, but it's the truth. And not the cellular one, not the cellulars, not the computers.
No internet, no anything.
No internet, no nothing. The only thing that really, really saved our lives was you guys and radio operators all around the world. Because we can hear all kind of countries trying to help us. But the thing is, the U.S. was coming in, more heavy, more strong. So we decided to cut them out and say, okay, let's go with the U.S. because first we are Americans, and also it's easier.
Yeah, it's easier for you guys, being local here, using the phone to get contact inside the United States. Even people from Central.
By the way, I made calls to 5 countries. Yes, yeah, I did.
I heard one from Costa Rica trying to help us.
Yes.
It was in Spanish, but ham radio operator was the only one that saved our lives.
I was just thinking about that right now. There was an operator, and it was you.
That was me. Yeah.
You said, "Don't worry about it. If he's from another country, that's fine because I have this international phone service."
Yeah, I do a lot of phone stuff.
I think we have people from Costa Rica showed up.
I made a call to Venezuela. Yeah,
and there was also I don't want to end the interview or what we're doing without saying that there was a Canadian also.
Yes.
On the list.
And he handled traffic for you.
He handled traffic for us too.
Yeah.
Everywhere from New Mexico.
Right.
I told you earlier. From New Mexico to the entire.
All the way. Even Boston, where we are.
Yep.
So, a lot of people. Helped out, and that Canadian station, he was really good as well.
So when did you gotta ask about it. When did the American hams come in? They were a couple weeks later, or they were.
I don't know much details, but I think that in between the transmission, I heard that there was a group of people coming in, and I actually gave directions to one of them. That he was looking for the fire department in Lares, on the 2-meter band. But to be honest with you, lack of communication, lack of a system,
Yes.
practice, because this, you don't rehearsal for you. There's no rehearsal for
Yeah,
this.
that's kind of disaster. Yeah.
But let me tell you, if you do have a plan and you practice and you have something at least, it helps when these things happen.
Sure.
But we didn't have much communication with the what was it, Magnificent 50 or 33?
2021
Was it 21?
It was advertised as a force of 50.
There was never remotely close to 50.
No, I think it was what 20,
Yeah, something like
20-something.
that.
21. Actually, Valerie, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Val,
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
there as well, and but at least from my part, I didn't.
Well, the thing is that you guys were isolated on your own. You were
Yeah.
kind of isolated from everything.
There's no kind of unified command
No,
system.
there was
Right,
no unified
right.
command. There's no logistics. There's no planning. There's nothing, and I can tell you that right now without a remorse. Communication belongs to the logistics section,
Yeah.
and
Didn't
It
happen.
wasn't there.
it wasn't there, but we were there, so we
Certainly
knew
You
were.
saved lives.
we knew what to do.
Yep.
And more than a hobby, it became a commitment at
Yeah.
that moment.
Exactly. Well, what I was impressed with on the air was just the commitment of amateur. I mean, that's part of what we do as ham radio operators and as contesters. I mean, all of us are contesters, and as Marty was saying, we have fun doing this all the time. But boy, it sure came into useful.
Well, there's one organization that's very involved in radio contesting and radio sport. And when we were writing our charter, we said, okay, well, we do this contesting for fun, but let's talk a little more about why we do it. It's because by competing, we get better at the skills. We get our stations tuned up better, so we have great signals. We can hear things. Our practice, our operating skills to be able to copy accurately and quickly. When does that benefit? That benefits in situations like this, when there's an emergency, and we were all of us who were involved were grateful for the opportunity to use those skills. For once, instead of just for having fun and competing with each other, we actually could put those skills to use, and it was a great privilege to be able to help you guys out.
Totally.
Great. Yep. One of the most satisfying events I've ever been involved in my life, actually.
It's kind of validation for
absolutely.
completely.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if we want to get into it or not, but the same organization was later able to send out some generators to.
Yeah, that's right. We had heard that a lot of the hams had they couldn't get on the air when the power went out, and they were on battery, and then the batteries went flat, and that was that. So we heard there was a need for some generators, so we put out a call for donations, which we would match, and we were able to purchase a quantity of very good, high-quality generators, which were distributed to some of the active contester hams on the island, so that next time, God forbid, if it happens, they'll have a generator and they can get some power on and put out good signals so they can pass more traffic. So we were very happy to be able to be involved that way as well.
Yeah, it's I hope we never need them. But,
Right,
you
right.
know.
It's one of those things. It's like insurance. You hope you never have to use it.
I remember a few years ago when I was a little kid, amateur radio was nominated for a Nobel Prize, and actually it was the whole ham radio operators around the world. So it never happened. But I guess, and I think that this should be considered not for us, but for the whole nation of ham radio operators to be again nominated for a Nobel Prize, because the work they do around the world is, I think they deserve that recognition.
Great.
Great. I mean, great. It's again, I can't express my gratitude and your and appreciation for your dedication and what you guys really did saved lives. Well, I know you have a contest suite to check out, Doug, and a band to listen to, and you guys want to get back to your regularly scheduled programming.
They're gonna come visit for a while.
You're gonna hang around.
Gonna come out and see what contesters really do.
I got beer in the other room. We can go have some fun.
Yes, his beer.
This is It's real nice what is happening right now. For us, we're real happy. We didn't expect this. You know, we did
course
not.
not.
We did not. We didn't did this for nothing. You know, we didn't ask for nothing. We didn't expect it at all. It just happened. We're here. We're real happy. We're real happy to meet you guys. It's a real pleasure. And but we did it with a heart. We didn't did it with any interested. So we're taking back home this award, and it's for the Puerto Ricans. It's for the ham radio operators in Puerto Ricans. And I only wish that someday ham radio in Puerto Rico, ham radio operators get a bit more together, like you guys do up here in the States. And that could be a teach or a class. And we're taking this back home for the ham radio community. It's the first time this award is being given to Puerto Ricans.
So I guess we didn't mention at the beginning, but you guys have been awarded the Dayton 2018 Special Achievement Award, and I think that's the least, the very least we could do to recognize this. Well, we'll let you go. This has been a very special episode, and I want to say thank you.
Well, thank you for the invite. Like I said, and in my own words, I'm thrilled, I'm happy, and I think that the brotherhood will bond us forever.